I must admit, when I think of Port Hedland, I think of iron ore and a lot of it. Right now, I'm on one of the daily tours run by the Seafarers Centre that circumnavigates the entire harbour, taking in all of the operations of the port users. And you can also go on one of the land-based industry tours run by the Visitors Centre that takes you inside BHP's operations on the ground to give you a real insight into the mining industry. But as I found out, Port Hedland is about so much more. A natural event in the region mesmerises locals and visitors alike each year on Port Hedland's waterfront. From October through March, turtles nest before new hatchlings head out to sea right here at Cemetery Beach. Bridget, Port Hedland and turtles, who knew?
Yeah, well, flatback turtles have been here since the beginning of time, before the mining industry and before this became a big port, obviously. And we've been monitoring the population dynamics for approximately 11 years.
And visitors that come to the area, can they get involved?
Yes, they can. Care for Hedland runs a community-supported monitoring program where volunteers can help us in the evenings, identifying turtles that are coming up to nest on the beach. And in the mornings, when the hatchlings come out of the nest, volunteers can help us find the hatchlings hidden in the grass, because sometimes they crawl the wrong way and they need a little bit of help to go back into the water.
Fishing has to be on the agenda in Port Hedland. Most households here have a boat, but if you don't know a local, fishing charters are available. With kilometres of coastline, a lot of which you can access by four-wheel drive, creek fishing and crabbing as well as shore fishing are great options. Being aware of the tides is important up here, but once you're geared up, fishing from the beach is almost therapeutic, whether you're an expert or a beginner like me. If you're keen on fishing up here, the local visitor centre is the place to go, because they can put you in touch with some of the local fishing charter companies, or they could even hook you up with Gavin over here from the Port Hedland Game Fishing Club, and he's got plenty of inside knowledge on some of the local shore fishing spots. The region is home to some seriously gifted artists who exhibit their work in a couple of galleries in Port and South Hedland. This is the Courthouse Gallery, and aside from the stunning pieces of local art that are offered for sale, the space also showcases entries into the Hedland Art Awards. The town's commitment to art extends outside, with some bold street art breathing life into stark walls. How fantastic is this? The new sits comfortably alongside the past here in Port Hedland. The centrepiece of the historic West End is the Silver Star Cafe, a repurposed and refurbished 1930s train carriage that serviced the Newman to Port Hedland line in the 70s and 80s. To get a real sense of Port Hedland's beginnings, a chat with longtime local Arnold Carter at historic Dalgety House is a must. Arnold, tell me, Port Hedland had a long history before mining, didn't it?
You are now standing on one of the most iconic parts of the pastoral industry, which was the only industry that they had prior to the advent of the mining industry, which occurred in 1962.
And when mining came to town, you were right in the thick of it, weren't you?
Very, very fortunately I was. I was one of the very early ones here. Actually, I was the only one in the company called Mount Goldsworthy Mining Associates, was the initial contractor to be able to iron ore, and ultimately that was taken over by the big monster BHP Iron Ore. It now controls the majority of the iron ore industry in Port Hedland.
Isn't Arnold just a wealth of information? But as well as Dalgety House, don't forget the other things in my top 5 things to do in Port Hedland. Take an industry or harbour tour, check out the turtles if you're here at the right time of year, maybe even wet a line, and don't forget to stop into town and have a look at the public art as well as the art in the Courthouse Art Gallery. It is well worth a look. And if you're stuck for any other ideas, definitely stop into the Visitors Centre here on Wedge Street. They have heaps of things to see and do around Port Hedland. That top 5 is a great way to start.